All right, so I'm assuming we're live. The first Trying Gravity show. This is going to be awesome. All right, so we're trying this out. It's the first time we're doing this. First time we're streaming. We'll see how well it goes. I mean, we're both stoked to be doing it, and we'll just see how well it goes. How well it's received. How well it feels.
Be gentle with us, guys. We kind of came up with this idea like two days ago. Prep time, well, it's not zero, but it's not much. So,
I'm sure it's going to go well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So we don't really have a schedule for this yet. Like I said, we don't really know how it's going to go. We don't have a schedule. We're going to try to adhere to maybe once a month. That's what we discussed. But it depends on, if we get enough topics, if we get enough interest, if we get enough, maybe potential guests as well. So the idea is that we're going to be talking about different mountain bike related subjects. You'll see as the show progresses. It's basically Corona entertainment at home that's mountain bike themed. So hopefully somebody's going to get stoked on it. That's the general.
We'll take turns streaming from my channel and from Mileta's channel. So every other time we'll switch channels. So if you want to make sure to catch all the shows, make sure to subscribe to both our channels. If you don't know about my channel yet, we'll post a link to it in the show notes or the description.
Oh, it's already there.
It's all there. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's with the name? What's with the name?
What's with the name?
Trying Gravity.
Oh, that name. So if you look at your channel name, Gravity Escapades, and if you look at my channel name, Have Fun or Die Trying.
It's a nice mix, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good mix. I think it works. And more often than not, you test gravity, it'll test you back. Possibly twice as hard. So I think it's a very, very fitting name. Yeah, we should definitely go with this, unless somebody else has a better idea.
It's fitting, although I guess we don't really hope for someone going to die, right? But
definitely not dying, but I don't know. Have you been watching those? Pink Bike has these Friday Fails videos.
Every day, every week.
I get so much stoke out of watching those. I don't know why, but I also dread watching because I usually ride on the weekends, and I don't want that to be me. I don't want to end up on that.
Fun thing though, or maybe not fun, but it seems like even though many of those crashes seem quite horrible, but most of the time people seem to get up and
off and
you crash a lot doing mountain biking, and a lot of the time it seems horrible. But it's quite rare that you really hurt yourself.
Yeah, definitely think so. I mean, you haven't had a serious crash in ages. I've had, 6 years ago, I think I broke my thumb.
Well, I've actually never broken anything, but I had my most serious crash this summer.
Yeah, but you were back on the bike.
I got a cast on. I didn't break anything, so I was back on the bike in like 2-3 weeks.
That's awesome.
During the show, feel free to post any questions in the chat if it's related to what we're talking about. We'll try to get to them, as soon as possible. Or if it's not related to what we're currently talking about, we'll come to them at the end of the show.
Yeah, there's time for viewer questions, definitely, and feel free to interact both on here and on other social media. We'll leave links somewhere down there to everything. Both Dennis and I have Instagram accounts as well for our YouTube channels, so feel free to join in the discussion.
Mileta, what's been your best training session the last couple of weeks or so?
My best training session wasn't
biking.
really the last couple of weeks. It was quite a while. It was almost a month ago. I've been to the Dome Adrenaline Zone in Gävle, about an hour and 40 minutes drive. Awesome place. It's just an indoor fun zone where you have everything from huge ramps and foam pits and airbags. to a skate park and a little kind of bowl that you can ride around, and it's good fun. And when you're sick and tired of that, you go to the cafe, have a little bit of coffee, and then continue on to the trampolines. It's a trampoline zone, and there's trampoline bikes and whatnot. So it's really an all around kind of place. It's awesome, and like quite often you see the likes of like Emil Johansson and Max Felixson, people who have tons of gold medals at home training there, because it is literally the best place for training freestyle mountain biking in possibly all of Europe. Awesome place.
We actually discovered that place, and we actually discovered that place together.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So I've been on a sort of a schedule for the full summer with my training. So November is kind of off for me. I try not to do anything scheduled, just do what I want. I think the best training sessions for me for the last couple of weeks has actually been trail building.
You get really tired of that.
Yeah, for an office guy like me, that's a tough workout session.
Now, throwing the shovel around is hard. It's hard work. I had this discussion at work with some people. Like, oh, so you just moving dirt around? Yeah, but when you do it an entire day, you do it like for 2 or 3 hours at least. Your shoulders are gonna explode. It's a hell of a workout.
Yeah, I've never tried it for a full day. 2-3 hours. That's all I can do.
It's awesome fun. By the way, what are you drinking?
I'm on a rum and coke.
We're hobgoblin over here, Ruby. Awesome beer. Love it. And like the graphics on it are perfect.
Have you seen any cool videos lately?
Cool videos. The only thing that comes to mind is the Sound of Speed, Martin Söderström and Emil Johansson. But well, it's like, what do you expect from 2 world-class Red Bull athletes?
Yeah.
I mean,
professionally,
it's beautifully filmed. Just to start off with that, it is beautifully filmed. But it's also filmed in a bike park. Now, we've both ridden there quite a few times, and I think we both agree that that's not how we ride those tracks, is it? I mean, I can pull off a trick or two now and again, but
kind of taking it up a notch.
Yeah. No, it's inspiring to watch because it just allows you to see what is even possible on features like that. I mean, I don't see those things. My skill level doesn't allow me to see more than, I can maybe do a simple trick on something. I can maybe, clean the landing perfectly on something. But I mean, doing triple whips on a right hip, and I can't even hip right. It's inspiring.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen them do some backflips and stuff. I'm having trouble clearing. It's quite amazing.
Yeah. kind of puts things into perspective. Like, I mean, sure, we're both office guys, so we don't do this for a living. But the guys who do it for a living are just so many levels above us, and we're not bad. It's scary.
Yeah.
What about you? Seen any more like fun YouTube videos?
It's not in the fun category, but I've been kind of following this. I guess it's a mountain bike coaching company called Fluid Ride that has a channel. Not that well known. I don't think they have that many subscribers, so maybe most of you haven't seen it. So they've been having this series with where they're training a girl actually in mountain biking coaching and technique, doing different stuff, kind of basic stuff, but all that basic stuff, it's so easy to just skip by, and you suppose that you know it, but you really don't. Basic stuff like cornering and jumping and all that stuff. So I've been kind of enjoying that series. I mean, it's not something super special, but the guy behind it, Simon Lawton, I think his name is. He seems to know his stuff. Given some tips that I haven't really seen in other videos. So yeah, I think it's interesting rather than fun, I guess.
No, I'm realizing that it's like people who do structured training, even if it's like simple stuff, basic mountain bike moves, are the people who can actually corner really well, or the people who are actually fast on a track when it comes to racing. So we should really leave a link in the show notes or in the description to that channel. Could be a good idea if anybody's interested.
We'll dump links to both that channel and your video and other stuff we might talk about that might be link worthy.
Just looking at the chat. Hey, everybody. Awesome to see somebody joining. I mean, come on. We're just, two dudes on YouTube, and, thank you for coming along. It's a pleasure to have you sharing our little YouTube
live show adventure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think you have some lots of flashy lower thirds introducing the next.
Let's do that. Meet the hosts. All right. What do we think about that?
Yeah, we thought if we're gonna do this show, I guess some of you people know me kind of good through my channel, and some of you people know Mileta kind of good through his channel. But we thought we'd just give us a short introduction to who we are. So let's start talking about you, Mileta. How did you get into mountain biking?
We need to make a distinction here. Is a serious mountain biking or just mucking about on a bike in the woods? I used to ski my entire life, but then during the summer, of course, we needed to do something. So my mom got me I think it's a Peugeot mountain bike, like a steel piece of crap bike. And this is God knows how long ago. I was 6. I could barely get over the top tube, and it was a ladies' mountain bike. One of those like slanted top tubes. And I found some pictures of me going down a stair set on that. But it
worked.
Humble beginnings. It was good fun, and then after that, I kind of got into other sports, team sports, basketball. I used to do a lot of team sports, basketball, volleyball, a bit of volleyball, bit of water polo. It was all fun, but it was too structured. Anyway, put sports on pause for a while. Kind of got into a lot of photography, and back when I'm 36 now, so when I was about 20, got a bike again. Got into it again. And it was good fun. I was starting to really enjoy going out and just, riding gravel trails, maybe bumping off of a route and trying to air something, but it wasn't, it wasn't much. I wasn't doing much. Then fast forward a couple of years, broke up with my ex, and my buddy basically just realized that I was stuck aside doing nothing, and he dragged me out, and he got me into mountain biking.
Are you in Sweden at this point, or I mean?
Yeah. This was Sweden. This was Sweden in when was it? Like, this is 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. So he dragged me out, and at that time I had a shitty bike. Full suspension, but totally shitty. I think I broke the frame, and it was some German supermarket piece of crap.
Like a YT or something?
No. We're not talking YT standards. YT is that's a good brand. We're talking like supermarket crap, like the stuff El Gigante would peddle. But I think I broke the frame like twice and warranted it. The shop that I bought it from thought I was an idiot for breaking a frame several times in 2 months. But yeah, I soon realized that supermarket frames don't really hold up to the stuff I wanted to do to a bike. And I got a used Harrow X7, I think, 180 mil free ride bike, which is possibly the smartest and the stupidest thing I've ever done. Smartest because it could handle anything. Stupidest because it could handle anything, and I thought that I could also handle anything. Yeah, so back-to-back fractures. That was 2012. God knows, I don't even know when this was. 10-ish years ago. Broke my left thumb, and then 2 weeks after I got out of a cast, this is my first proper season mountain biking. 2 weeks after I got out of cast, I broke my my right scaphoid. So yeah, it was a good way to meet nurses. I was single. Fuck it. Yeah.
What's the type of mountain biking you do nowadays, or you prefer?
Well, stuff that's hanging on my wall. I'm trying to be more of a kind of jumpy, free ridey person. Although I still have to learn how to manual, because you can't be free ride if you can't manual. There's an unwritten rule there somewhere, I suppose. But it's mostly like bike parky, free ridey stuff. I love riding drops. I love riding jumps. I've been trying to learn tricks the past few years, and I think that really suits me. I mean, that's kind of the anti-attitude to the team sports I've been doing all my life, and I don't know, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And what's that thing you're trying to hide behind yourself? Doesn't really go with all your free ride.
Nobody see that. That thing is a road bike on a trainer. Apparently, I've realized that you also need to be fit to ride bikes. So, given the fact we live in the northern hemisphere and in Sweden, yeah, half the year looks horrible. So, back on Zwift. That's what I'm doing.
And your channel, Have Fun or Die Trying, is that also a free ride channel, or?
It's not free ride per se. It's but it is have fun. I mean, having fun is kind of the pillar in my mountain biking. So I train to be able to have fun when I go a ride. I train so that I can jump higher. I can do better, bigger tricks. I can play around more. That's the whole kind of pillar of what I want to be doing with my mountain biking. It's not to be the fastest. It's to have fun. And I don't care if I come last in a race, as long as I felt that it was an awesome race and I gave it my all, and I had a good time and everybody else did. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Why are you documenting all this stuff on your YouTube channel? Why a YouTube channel?
Well, I mentioned that I was into photography, and that kind of trickled over into making videos, and I was just, making videos for myself, basically. I'm a camera nerd. Try out cameras, try out different techniques, just play about. I'm burping from all the beer. But yeah, that kind of trickled over into making videos, and then the two passions just kind of gelled. So I figured, why not make mountain biking videos? And at first it was just, this is going to be awesome when I'm 80 years old and can't ride anymore. And, I can look back at it and
hoping YouTube is still around.
Hoping YouTube is still around, but I do save all these videos on hard disk as well. But yeah, no, it was a way to kind of be able to reminisce on what I've done earlier, and see my progression. then I realized, why not put this on YouTube? Why not share it? It's a good sharing platform, if nothing else. So somebody's going to watch it. And then when people started watching it, I was really stoked that somebody's actually, watching and commenting and drawing some kind of pleasure from, watching other people do mountain biking, getting some inspiration. So why not? And I've realized that there's basically nobody apart from you and me doing this on YouTube seriously in Sweden.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't count the pros, the pros are a whole different category.
I guess there are a couple of people that would maybe agree with that, but
Yeah.
but okay.
No, they've started to pop up quite a few people nowadays, and it's good. I mean, honestly, the more people fill the space, the more interesting I think it might get. YouTube isn't one of these places where there's so much competition. It's not a competitive sport. It's everybody contributing, I think. And this is why I think, collaborating with other YouTubers, especially if you've ridden with them, if you know them personally, is just awesome. Hit us up, people.
All right, cool.
What about you, dude? How did you start?
Well, I got into mountain biking when I was like 20. I'm 45 now. Back then it was,
You're an old dog. That's awesome,
I
man.
am. Back then I did, cross-country oriented mountain biking. I did marathon races. So it's kind of a different thing than what I'm doing right now. So I did that for a few years. I mean, I was never a prominent racer or someone winning races or something. I think the best race I did, I ended up in like the top 20%. I ended up in like place 500 out of 2,500. I think that's probably my best race ever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's that race in Ludvika in Sweden. What was it called? It was quite known back then. I forgot what it's called. It's a 100. It's a 112 kilometer race, so it's quite a long race.
What?
Yeah, and there was a lot of trails. It wasn't actually that much gravel road. There's a lot of trails on, like 50-50 trails and gravel road. It's a tough race.
That's impressive. Just sitting on a bike for that long, like doing trail rides, that's impressive.
Yeah, I think I was 5.5 hours straight. Yeah. But then I kind of got off, or I didn't do that much mountain biking for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years or so. I got out once in a while, but it's not something I did regularly. But then approaching 40, I picked it up again and started doing, I guess cross-country stuff or trail stuff. And then I guess I had my midlife crisis, turning 40, and had to do something wild and crazy or something, and decided that I got to do this gravity stuff. I got to start doing gravity-oriented mountain biking. So I got into that, and I guess it was kind of about the same time that Enduro started to blow up. So I kind of got on the Enduro train and started trying out Enduro.
Cool. You gotta tell me a little bit of backstory about your trip to Järvsö on. Well, that's actually the cross country bike. There's a few really good videos on that on Dennis's channel. Go and check it out.
Yeah, it's actually the year, or actually the same month that I turned 40. I guess I had some sort of midlife crisis, and I guess it started late one night. I was watching TV, and there was some documentary about this 14-year-old girl sailing around the world by herself. And there I was, 40 years old, sitting on my couch, going to work each day. But I guess that's what I did. So I felt I gotta add a bit of an adventure, although it maybe won't be sailing around the world by myself. So at that time, gravity mountain biking was becoming more and more interesting to me, even though I haven't really tried it. So I decided to bike all the way up to Järvsö, which is the route I picked. It's 450 kilometer ride. on my full suspension all mountain bike, which I once I got there realized that my pump, the pressure gauge in my pump was actually wrong. So I had a wrong, I had far too little air in my tires. I thought I pumped into max so it would go well on the tarmac, but well, wasn't enough. But it was I took 2 days to get to Falun, where I did some, gravity-oriented mountain biking, and then 2 more days to get to Järvsö, and then I did Järvsö bike park. First time I was in a bike park for 1 day, and then I took train back to Stockholm.
400 and how many kilometers?
450.
That's masochistic, but impressive.
Yeah, but it was I guess to me it was sort of an adventure and testing yourself a bit, I guess, getting out, being alone with your thoughts and all that. Something about that appealed to me and still appeals to me, I guess. Yeah,
that's why I ride road, actually. Like going out for longer road rides is just meditation, basically, because it's not technical. You don't really need to think about the road. It's wide enough. You're not going to run yourself off the road. So you just, sit there, head down, thinking. I think it's awesome meditation.
It's kind of interesting when you go for these longer rides off the trails or on tarmac. I used to do that a lot more back in my marathon days. The first 1-2 hour, you're just thinking about, man, this is a long ride. Is it ever gonna end? And then maybe not suddenly, but then after a while you realize you're in some sort of mental state where time or kilometers just start rolling, and it's not like you're all of a sudden is at home back again 4 hours later, but you get into some sort of state of mind where time and kilometers just start rolling.
And everything starts hurting.
Yeah, that's the negative part of it, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh, flutist. People coming into the chat. Hamid, we'll get to the questions in a bit. I figured we'd leave some time at the end, and I have some commenting to do on that. Actually, I've just swapped to SRAM brakes on my bike. But yeah, so what bikes do you have? What bikes do you ride? What bikes do you want to buy?
Now I'm on a 29er Capra, YT Capra. I bought it February this year. Before that, I had a 27.5 Capra. So I'm a big on Capras, I guess. Those are the only real gravity bikes I had. Before that, I had a Ghost RT Lector, which I guess they called it an all mountain bike, but at least with modern geometry, it would be more like a cross country bike. It's a full suspension bike, 26er. And before that, I had some. I started out back when I was 20. I started out on a fully rigid bike, steel frame.
Those days.
Yeah, and I rode a lot in that, and I rode trails and everything. And it's just amazing, I guess, where bikes have come from that time. Yeah,
it's like I almost feel that it's cheating nowadays. I mean, just if you look just at the head angle change, how much that enabled us to do stupid shit.
Yeah. Although I was riding, I have all my bikes. I've never dropped the bike or sold the bike, so I have my old bikes still with me. And I rode my first hardtail steel bike last summer or something, and I rode it up a hill where there's a Strava segment. And I didn't comment, but I PR'd it. So still, those bikes were fast. They're totally something different from riding your big suspension.
But isn't it scary when you have these tiny little bars you're trying to hold on to and brakes that barely kind of do anything, and you're bumming a hill at however many kilometers an hour? I mean,
I've never really understood that about brakes, though, because even back in the days when I had cantilever brakes on my first mountain bike, I mean, you could still lock up your wheel with one finger. So I have never really understood that about power of the new brakes and everything. I mean, all brakes I've had back into the cantilever days, I've been able to, without a big problem, lock up the wheels with one finger. So I don't really get that whole braking power stuff.
I would just not sit on a bike with canty brakes.
They work fine.
I'm sure they work fine. They've worked fine for millions of people. I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Also, I can't really set them upright, so maybe that's why I don't.
Well, I guess once it was wet or in sub-0 degrees, they were sometimes kind of dangerous, but
sometimes kind of dangerous. No, but like the modulation that you have in brakes these days is ridiculous.
But brakes are more like on-off, right? You're either off or you're on.
That is when you ride Shimano. When you ride SRAM, they're bits to bleed, but they have modulation. Like we can get into that question in a bit. But yeah, I find that SRAM brakes have actual modulation, as in it depends on how, the braking power depends on how far I press the lever, rather than my Shimano Z's, which is like on or off. I love them, I really do, but it's like, hey, all of a sudden I know how far I can press this, and I know how slow the bike is going to go. Hey, that's good.
I'm not that particular about stuff.
I used to love the levers on the Z's. How are the SRAM brakes working on the Santa? Well, I broke one and then I fixed it. They're a bitch to bleed, like I said. I have SRAM codes on that, code R's. They're horrible to bleed. SRAM, even the newer ones, have this like 2 syringe system that is just annoying. You basically pass oil through the entire system, just up and down, and then you never know how much oil you need to leave in the system for the lever to, not be stuck in the outwardmost position. I need to learn how to bleed them properly, but I think they're phenomenal brakes, and I honestly think they're better than the Z's I had before. I haven't tested them in the Alps. I don't know how quickly they cook, but for Swedish riding, I think they're better than the Z's. The best SRAM brakes I've ridden were Z's, 4-pot brakes. But yeah, I digress here. So if we get back to what we're talking about, so your channel, right? How did that come about, Dennis? Why YouTube?
Well, I've always appreciated doing videos. When I was like a teenager, I did small videos, movies with my friends. So I've always liked doing videos, and I guess when action cameras started popping up and I started doing mountain biking again, kind of mixed together, and I felt like I wanted to do videos about that. I guess I saw cool videos on the internet or whatever, and I felt like I wanted to try it out myself. So for the first, 1-2 years, I did a few videos. Then I put them on YouTube or something, just did them. Then somewhere along the way, I felt like, hey, let's try this YouTube thing. Put them on the internet. Get famous, rich and famous. Hasn't happened yet, but well.
No. But I still appreciate, just digging however many months ago, and some kid comes up to me, I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen your video. It's like, you what? It's awesome that somebody actually, occasionally notices that you've done something, and they're impressed by it, and like, holy shit, okay, well, thank you. I'm honestly humbled by the fact that you spend time watching something I made. I love it.
Yeah, I've actually had a few people come up to me like during races, etc., and say like, I'm out here trying out enduro racing today because I've seen your videos, because you inspired me to it. So that's really cool.
But your whole idea behind the channel is incredibly relatable. I mean, you're a middle-aged guy trying to do something in mountain biking and racing, and kind of putting it all out there to for everybody to see. I think it's an awesome idea to just show the process of how do you become a racer? What goes to your mind? I mean, I've tried explaining this to people who don't race. It's just explaining the focus that is involved in racing, the preparation, the fact you think about it for 2 days in advance, and then think about your food and drink intake, and think about your lines, and go plan everything in advance. It whoosh right over people. Some people just don't, unless you've seen it or experienced it, you don't know what it feels like. And watching a channel like yours, where you go through that, I think that's a good way to kind of get into racing and learn what it really takes to race, even if it's on our level, which is nothing compared to the pros. But yeah,
cool. But at least you appreciate it.
And a few other people as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So what about the name? Why Gravity Escapades? Was it just
actually, from the beginning it was called Mountain Bike Escapades? And I think I started it a bit before I got into the gravity stuff, or maybe didn't think so much about gravity stuff back then. And then for a while it was called Mountain Biking Gravity Escapades, which was, well, a bit too much, I guess. And then for a while it was called Gravity Escapades brackets MTB, I think. And then I ditched all the MTB stuff, and now it's just Gravity Escapades. So, well, gravity is kind of obvious, right? I tried to get into the more gravity-oriented sides of mountain biking, and escapades. Quite a few people ask me, what the hell is this escapades thing? Whatever does it mean? And it kind of means adventure. But I think it kind of has a tone of it being, not fully successful, or kind of maybe a bit of clownish, or I'm not sure. But to me, at least, it's a bit of, there's gravity in it, and there's sort of an adventure, but it's not like a big, adventure like being a 14-year-old girl sailing around the world by yourself. And it's not an adventure like I'm an adventure pro. It's more like my, me trying out all these gravity stuff with mixed results, I guess.
Well, I mean, mixed results. You still learn from it, and you get better from it. So I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like every time I ride trail with you, you've consistently been faster than me on trails, which is pretty impressive. So you're doing something right. Definitely.
So you're saying if one beats Mileta, that's quite impressive. Is that your
absolutely.
reason?
That is the definition of good, beating me.
Yeah. Impressive is beating Mileta on the trails. Then you're impressive. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll take that. I mean, I'm on the right side of it, so I'll take that.
God, that makes me sound like a douche.
Yeah, and you just had to point that out.
Yeah, but you're doing something right.
Maybe it's time for our next
move on to our next little
subject.
Trail building. What do you guys think about that? Who's picked up a shovel here? I want to show hands. The chat is slow.
It's a bit of a lag.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, what are your thoughts on trail building?
I've kind of recently got it. No, that's not true. I've been building trails for a few years, actually. Small local private trails, more or less. But there's something about trail building that, I started building this new trail kind of recently, and the one you're asking about, Ollie, in the chat. Two with stories, the one you're asking about in the chat. And it's funny how I get all engaged or engulfed by trail building, to the point where I'm having a hard time sleeping because I'm thinking about that trail and what I'm going to do about it. So I was there, one night digging, and then I got home and I got to bed, and it just started rolling in my head, all these thoughts about this trail and what I could do with it. And I'm not sure what it is that makes it so engaging for me. but it's, I guess one part of it is that, you know, I work an office job, and I don't create physical stuff during my day. So I guess that's part of it, you know, doing something physical, creating real stuff. But I guess it's also a lot about, you know, envisioning stuff, being creative, finding lines in the forest, and you know, finding cool ways to get down the forest or get down the hill or something,
I
which I
love
think makes it fantastic.
I love Ollie's comment, by the way. Hey, Ollie. Listen, dude, it was a phenomenal race. I love you for sorting that out. Seriously, it was a fantastic effort, and honestly, I had tons of fun. It's good to learn cornering. That track that we rode is really good for cornering.
So you've been working on some local hill, Mileta, the last summer or weeks or months or year or?
No, actually, I almost took a break from it for a really long while. I think the last time we were there is spring. By the way, both Dennis and I have playlists on trail building, so we'll link them in the description. Go check it out. No, we found an old track. Actually, a local guy here in Broma who is really prominent in organizing both like running groups and mountain bike groups, Engby Runners and Engby Runners Sikkelavdeling Facebook groups. He's the guy who kind of got me thinking about that trail that we're doing, and then I met some other people who were digging there, and I figured, hell, there's a trail. I have a shovel. Let's go do something. This is apparently something that the Wallner brothers started building ages ago, and are still living in Stockholm. And then Max Fredriksson and a few others were digging there. But I mean, at that time, the scene was so little that, I mean, you know, everybody was anybody now was digging back then. And it's a nice little short, like under a minute trail, just slightly under a minute. Kind of, you know, Burmy, bike parky, and we figured we'd spruce it up. So there's two sides of the hill. There's two trails, one going through the forest, one going on the open side of the hill. It is pretty free ridey. So what we built on that trail inside the forest is basically we spruced up a berm. We built a really small drop, but then you're coming at it at a pretty good speed. So you're launching pretty far out. You're dropping maybe 1.5 meters at least. We've also built just widened the trail a lot so that it can be used for, you know, both beginners and advanced riders, and put in a 4 meter long and low, and put in a hip jump that still has no landing. We'll deal with that at some point. But you can ride it. I mean, you can land. It's just not the most comfortable landing. It's been fun, and I met some really awesome people through digging over there. William, I'm looking at you right now, and a few others. I mean, just, you know, really fun people. The idea of like leaving something behind, making something better, leaving it behind, and leaving it for somebody to use and have fun on, and making it, you know, safe and sustainable enough to use for however many months in the future. I think that really appeals to me, because it's this is weird, right?
You're such a nice guy in that sense.
No, I mean, nice guy or not, you know, I love riding that trail. I haven't ridden it that much. I love riding it though, and it's, you know, what is it? 10 minutes ride away from me, not even that. So when I used to go to work by bike, I used to ride up there, do a couple of laps, and then go to work.
Okay, cool.
It's good training. It is good training. And I mean, I'd be lying if I wasn't saying that, you know, if I wasn't doing it for myself, but I am doing it for myself. But it's nice to see random kids at that same trail going, oh, just clear that jump, or, you know, oh, this is an awesome trail. Or, I mean, at the end of the day, if nobody builds trails, then we're not going to have Max Fredrikssons and Martin Söderströms and everybody else coming up in the ranks and getting gold medals. That's how that works.
How many meters of elevation have we got there? That hill?
Very few. I honestly didn't even think about it. I know that the trail is like something like 50 seconds, maybe 52, 53 seconds at my speed, which can be improved. But it's flowy. So, you've got like berms and jumps and things, and everything's rollable, but it's also technical if you have a bit more speed and a bit more pop. So it depends on where you want to land and how you want to set up for the next thing and so on. And we try to keep it that way, that if there's a 10-year-old kid on a BMX with barely working brakes, that they can also ride it. And then somebody free rides can ride it too.
Going back to Two Wheel Store's question here about the track I'm working on now. So I actually, I found this, or I didn't find this old ski hill, but there is this old ski hill, like a 10-minute pedal from my house also, on which I actually found a downhill track like a year ago. Did ride it with Florida like a year ago. So I've been thinking about that track for like a year, that I should do something about it. There's I think there's almost like 60 meters of elevation, which is really good being Stockholm.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I found I posted a question on Instagram, and I found a small crew. So now we're like 4 people working on that track. So I think it'll become really cool. Nothing is really long in Stockholm, but I guess it will be plus 1 minute, maybe towards 2 minutes. Hard to tell. Maybe like 1/3 or something in length. Quite varied. From some small jumps, some open grassy sections which is kind of steep with berms, into the forest, which is kind of rocky, and so it's kind of a mix of stuff. I think it will be a quite cool mixed track, short but kind of mixed, or kind of long actually, to be a Stockholm trail.
I honestly think for Stockholm, Hammarbybacken is under a minute. Anything on Hammarbybacken is under a minute. So 1:30 is, wow, that's almost like float.
Although I am kind of guessing here. I haven't ridden it, so we'll see once I ride it. But yeah. So I don't think we'll kind of invite visitors yet, Ollie. We're working on it. The stuff we built is soft. It needs to pack. But I'll definitely announce it on the channels you follow me in when it's done. And I'm making a video of it, but I'm kind of behind actually on my videos, so it might take several months before you see that video.
So is it worth the investment? Like, we both have families. We both have, I'm on parental leave, but we both have jobs. Is it worth the time and effort you put into it?
That's kind of something I've been thinking on, back and forth. And the first trails I built them at my summer house. I spent, many hours for really short trails, like, 30 seconds. And I basically never rode them, I guess partly because they were maybe too short, wasn't really worth the effort or something. But then I did manage to prolong them, so now they're, I don't know, maybe a bit shorter than a minute. But still, I kind of never rode them until I built this climb trail, actually, because you had to push bike to get to the hill. And this summer, I built this climb trail to get up to the top, and suddenly I actually started using them. So maybe climb trails are kind of the key to actually using trails, which I think climb trails are not really what you want to build, or not to me at least. But looking at it rationally, it's probably not worth building trails, considering the time you spent building them relative to the time you actually spend riding them. But to me, that calculation doesn't really make sense, I guess, because the joy in building them is so great to me, and that's why I build trails.
No, I fully agree with that. I mean, the trail that William and a few others and I have built up here. I mean, I must have ridden it like tops 80, 90 times. That's like 90 minutes of my life spent riding that trail. It's also about several weeks of my life spent shoveling on that trail. So it's absolutely not worth it if you look at the time versus what you get out of it. But then, you calculate the fact that I've got really fun friends out of that as well, that I've got, the pleasure of leaving something behind, the pleasure of making something that's challenging and then trying to ride it and almost crashing a few times and then almost making it and then, going.
Yeah, that's actually a really good.
Making it.
That's actually
it's not, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's actually a really good case for building your trails, because you can build stuff that you know that you almost can ride, and then you have to ride it because you built it. You spent like so many hours building it, so you have to just do it. So it's a good way to progress, because you can build stuff that is slightly above what you can do, and having spent all that time on it, you just had to do it.
Especially if you build with people who are better at building than you are, who've been doing it for years. Because we had this issue where I figured we'd place the lip of like one of these jumps that comes after another jump a little too close, and it just really didn't work. And then somebody who was more experienced came along and it's like, yeah, move that 2 meters. And all of a sudden it flowed really beautifully. But that's what you do. You make mistakes, you learn from it, and then you hopefully build better, more fun features in the future. And I think that hill has a ton more potential for just awesome trails. But moving on. So what do you think makes a fun trail? Like when you're building a trail, how do you visualize it? What do you think? Do you go more towards the kind of natural side? Do you go more towards the?
I definitely prefer the natural side. I definitely prefer the natural stuff. I mean, I like to be in the woods more than building berms and jumps. I mean, sure, there's nice when there's berms and jumps, but I like the forest. I like natural stuff. That's totally my thing. And I prefer fast trails, where you can where you feel that, wow, this is going fast. And that's a relative thing, but where you can be fast, feel that you're fast. That's trails I prefer.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of the difference between yours and my riding. Very much so, because you're more of a natural trails guy. I'm more of a bike park kind of guy. I love the like technical, steep, very slow kind of. You're barely moving. Almost, you just kind of positioning your bike left and right just so you can ride a line, almost trialsy. Apart from the fact that I can't do trials, but steep. That's kind of fun. And then the other thing that I find incredibly fun is jumps, and like big trickable jumps where they're safe enough, but where you feel that you have enough airtime to let go of the bars or do something fun, and like transfers. So hip transfers where you can go, lean into one kind of shark fin thing and then get all weightless and just slam the next berm or the next kind of exit. That transition from like, okay, almost full compression to weightless and moving sideways and then slam and then, riding it out. I think there's one jump like that I've ridden, and it's in Vasha Bike Park. It's a small jump, but just like your guts move around. It gives you that feeling of weightlessness. It's basically like an amusement park ride, but you're the one riding. You're the one that is the ride. It's just good fun. So that kind of stuff. I'd really love to build more jumps like that. But we'll see. There's plenty of space on that trail.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, once in a while when I, feel like I'm doing a good jump and get that feeling you're talking about, it's awesome. But you're so much more of a jumper than I am and can do it much better than me. So,
Literally all that I've been doing for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So
maybe we should go on with move on to the outro part. I've been spending 55 minutes.
Oh, great. Wow. That's been a long talk. All right. So how about we take some viewer questions?
I think we kind of answered everything that's been posted, right? So if you guys still have any questions, shoot them in the comments.
Thanks, Ollie, by the way. Love having you here.
So there are two topics, or what's going to happen on your channel the coming 2 weeks or a month or so.
What's going to happen? All right. So right now I'm editing the last video of my summer road trip. We've been to Järvsö and then to Åre, and then we realized the weather is just completely shitty in Åre, and we went back to Järvsö for a couple more days. So you're going to find out why I now ride Santa Cruz as opposed to Pivot. The ones who've been following me on Instagram at least already know, but stay tuned for that. Unfortunate end, but very fortunate that I'm running that now.
Is it the last Pivot video?
You've been asking me that for a while now. I think
I have.
It's like, when's it going to end?
When is it over? Enough with this Pivot bike already.
It's coming back for the day. Honestly, I love the bike. I seriously love the bike. If Pivot could deliver a frame within the time that I needed a frame, which is immediately, I would probably be riding another Pivot Firebird. But they don't make a 27.5 Firebird anymore, and I didn't want to get the 29er. And it would have taken a really long while for them to deliver it. So I think it's the last Pivot Firebird video, which is damn. You made me feel all nostalgic now. I used to love that bike. That's a good bike. Yeah, that's a really good bike.
But I kind of on that. Same topic. The next video I'm working on is actually introducing my my 29er Capra, and kind of my thoughts and my experience moving from the 27.5 Capra to the 29 Capra. That's the video I'm currently working on.
Something I've been meaning to ask you, why you moved to a 29er. But then again,
I'm telling you nothing yet. You're gonna have to wait for the video.
You're a racer. You ride 29ers. You don't jump. I know.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious, I guess.
That is a really nice bike, and like it just looks dope, all black and murdered out. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening.
We don't seem to have any more questions, so maybe you should remind people if you missed the intro that this format, the live show we're trying out today, we're trying it out. We'll probably make a few episodes and see if we find it fun, and if you guys seem to like it. Not sure how often we'll release it, but maybe like once a month or something like that, or how often we do the live show, like once a month. And we are switching between Mileta's channel and my channel for every show. So if you want to make sure to catch all the episodes, you better make sure that you're subscribing to both our channels.
Yep. Next episode is on Dennis' channel, Gravity Escapades. Go check it out. Sub.
Just a link in the description to the video, right?
Yeah. And all the videos that we talked about, I'll put in the description. So you can have a look at that. Also, Dennis is in my playlist on trail building. Have a look at that as well.
And we are planning to have some guests. So I think we'll have a guest in the next episode.
Yeah.
The topic
Awesome.
might be differences and similarities between riding in Sweden and the UK. Might be. Not promising anything.
Now you can talk about that now because the person who might be a guest has left.
Which might be full stories.
Yeah. All right. Now we'll. I guess we'll just outro here. Huge thanks for everybody who's tuned in.
We did get a late question from Niklas though, so maybe we should try and answer that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why do you keep both a 29 and a 27 and a 29er bike? Well, to me, I saved my 27 bike. I actually cracked the frame on it, but had it fixed by some carbon guy. So I thought I wouldn't really get any good money for it since it was fixed, a broken frame that was fixed. And it just so happens to be that, now I have one bike at my summer house and one bike at home, which was very convenient. So that's why I have both a 27 and a 29er bike.
All right. I don't have a 29er, but I can answer the next question. So I tried a 29er. I tried a Cannondale Habit 130 mil carbon front ends, alloy rear end, beast of a bike. Loved it. However, I loved it for trails. It just eats up like the rooty, chunky stuff. It's great, at least in my local forest here in Grimstad. Love the bike. I hit my nuts on the rear tire very, very often when I jump. I'm sure this is down to not my height. I'm 175, so I'm not the shortest person out there. It's down to my technique, but I feel very uncomfortable doing big jumps on a 29er, which is why I've definitely wanted to go with a 27.5 again. And it feels more playful.
Does that something have to do with your freeride stuff and you have big balls to try all the jumps? And
I wasn't going to go there. I was not going to go there, but thank you for, elephantitis of the nutsack.
Yeah, and Niklas, I guess if you want to know, I'm talking about in the new video I'll be releasing in maybe a week or two, a bit more about 27 points towards 27 compared to 29er. Capras, at least. Mm-hmm. And then James came up with a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually bought a McLeod recently, which is, how do you describe that tool if you don't know what it is? Well, it is a trail building tool. I think it started out from firemen using it to, clear wood so fire wouldn't spread. But it's a common trail building tool. I bought one, kind of expensive, but really loving it. It's versatile, which I guess what I like the most. Can do a lot of stuff. Great for bench cutting and just hacking away in the forest. I would recommend getting a McLeod.
Is it like a pickaxe and a rake in one?
Yeah, kind of. It doesn't have a long pickaxe thing. It's more like a rake and a sharp spade or something at the other end, or hack, or so it's really good when you're hacking through dirt. It's sharpened, so you get through all the roots and everything, or smaller roots at least. And it's heavy, so you can use it more or less like an axe or pickaxe. Yeah, I love it.
I was looking at something like that. And I met this local guy who actually makes it. This British dude who apparently has a metal workshop somewhere and makes these things. Figured to get something like that at some point. But no, I have an axe, a saw, like a small hand axe, about that wide or that big, a hand saw, and just a shovel, a spade. And that kind of covered most of the things up until now, but what Dennis just talked about, bench cutting, it's a lot easier with something where you don't have to bend that far down like you have to do with a shovel. So yeah, I'll get one of those at some point, depending on how much trail building I'm going to be doing in the future. But yeah, I'm looking into it.
James, you'll see that McLeod in my latest in the trail building video once that gets done, which I won't give any promises to. To be fair, probably not in the next couple of months, but eventually it will get there.
Looking forward to that.
Cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Feel free to shoot us some comments on Instagram or something, or some DMs or whatever. Let us know what you guys think worked well and maybe not didn't work so well. How we can make this thing even better. Yeah,
like the technological aspect of it. So if the audio was good, if the video was good, just let us know that as well. We're noobs when it comes to streaming, so help us out here.
Content and tech-wise.
Yeah, the more input we get from you guys, the more we can work on this and improve it. And I don't know, if anybody finds this interesting, we should really continue. I mean, this was fun for us.
We're going to do at least one more episode, right?
Oh yeah,
on my channel.
Yeah.
And then,
then
I guess we'll see. Yeah. Cool. I guess that's it.
All right. It was awesome talking to you, dude, and awesome to see all the 8 people in the chat right now watching us. But yeah, I did not expect. I didn't expect anybody to come, so this is phenomenal. Yep. Thank you everybody for showing up and listening to us babble on and on. So next up, sub to Dennis' channel. That's going to be linked in the description. The next video is coming out on his channel. That's about it. Awesome playing bikes with you. Or what we need a catchphrase. That's
that was kind of stolen from Phil.
Phil, right? Phil says that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
nice.
We need to
nice dying with you guys or something.
I should stop drinking beer. But yeah. All right. Cheers, everybody. Cool. We're ending the broadcast. All right. Bye-bye.